Hello. Hey, everyone. This is Anas from UserGuiding. I'm the sales manager in UserGuiding. And we will be waiting a couple of minutes to start, just so more people can join. And we will kick off and talk about today. So our agenda today includes some topics about the user onboarding and the feature adoption and how you can do that in user guiding. So we will start talking about the user onboarding, the concept of it, and why do you need user onboarding for your SaaS business, and why is it now more important than any time before. And then we will talk about some practices, some good frameworks that you can follow in order to make it easier for you. Yeah, I guess already we have good number joined. So just 2 minutes and we will be good to go. I'll be sharing my screen. And if you have any questions, please, meanwhile, just send your questions if you have any while I'm explaining in the chat bot, or raise your hand, which is a cool feature that Zoom provides, and I will get back to you. Great. Hey, Basilis. We will have our meeting on Monday. I'm excited about it. Is it tomorrow? Okay, here I go. Yeah, it's tomorrow. I just remembered. I thought it was on Monday. Cool, great. Yeah, I think we can start. We already have a good number, and the others can catch up with us. So we will start talking with a preface about the onboarding. So what is onboarding initially, and before digging more into why do you need onboarding and what's the good practices. So user onboarding basically, in very simple words, let's not make it technical, is that you have a SaaS product and you have users, right? You have traffic to that application or that SaaS product, which you want to deliver value to. And in order to deliver value, it should have a good UX. So the first part of it, it should have a value, should solve a problem, and it should have a good UX for users to interact with in terms of design, from design perspective. And then a very important thing to have is that the first sessions the users are having with those products, so your mission is to deliver the fastest value to them. So what we call it is actually, the goal is to achieve a 0 time to value. So you need to directly catch their attention and let them feel interested about what you're providing to them, so they will engage more with you. So this is what onboarding is about. The onboarding is that you are making your application more intuitive and more interactive, providing some materials, providing some guidance, some announcements, some notifications to make the whole experience for your users easier and smoother. This is in a very simple way what is onboarding about. And if we talk about why do I need user onboarding for my SaaS? Because, as we mentioned, when you have now, let's say, prospects or potential customers, they're coming in a discovery phase, right? So they land on your homepage and they're waiting to see what kind of value they can get. So they have some expectation before, and they're now discovering how much you make a fit for them. Now, you might have the best product, which actually solves their problem, right? And actually delivers a great value to them. But if you don't actually know how to smartly approach them and smoothly deliver that value to them, they will eventually churn, which is which is like, you know, the insights tell us that about 40 to 60% from those users, they come to the first sessions and you will never see them. So yeah, this is the unfortunate fact that we all know. And what we try to do in the onboarding phase, if we believe, of course, that we have a good product, is to eliminate that percentage of churned people, to increase the retention and to hopefully convert them to happy paying customers. So as you see, like this simple graph explains quickly what's the journey or what's life cycle of in terms of the onboarding, from the onboarding perspective, how users go through. They are potential customers, they start using your products, so they're newbies, and they become users, and then they become fans. And the user onboarding will facilitate this whole process. So the potential customer will land while they are newbies. You are delivering them the right guidance and delivering them the aha moments, which we are going to talk about, and giving them, guiding them through the touch points. And then they will turn into retained users. So they will visit again more and more, and eventually they will be fans, which is, this is the dream of all SaaS businesses, is to have raving fans they're actually promoting now your product, not only using it, but actually working as referrals. So you need the user onboarding to achieve many goals, enable your users get the most out of your product. This is a very important point in terms of the product adoption, right? So it's not only just delivering the value, but now you created a product which you spent loads of time on, right? You and your developers and the whole team, and you want to make sure that they get benefits from as many features as possible. So the more you have, give them more education and more guidance, the more you get more product adoption. Increase the retention and conversions, as we mentioned, because again, when they first visit the first sessions, if they're happy, they will visit again. I mean, you can measure that if you think we ourselves, according to any of the experiences that you've lived with any of the application or the SaaS application. So for example, you try a new product, and the first session is very important. I remember that, like I gave a look at Salesforce, for example, and the onboarding they have is really good. So you feel like, I want to come again to see what more I can get the benefits of. Even in Canva, for example, I used to use it for a while. They have really great onboarding, or Slack, which I think most of, or let's say a good amount of the businesses use. So the onboarding role is very important in order to increase the retention, and the more retention, the more conversions you can get, hopefully, because they're getting more value and they're hopefully to convert. Reducing the training cost is a very important part of it, because the ordinary ways that you're some training sessions and the video tutorials, which we're going to talk about a bit in more details now, but reducing the training costs is one of the main goals that you can achieve through having a good and robust user onboarding, right? Achieve more feature adoption. This is more, again, within the product adoption topic. Reduce the churns. So as long as the more you're engaging with the users, again, the more happy they are, the less likely they are to churn if they're continuously getting value. And this has more a role to play with when you engage with them after the onboarding, actually the initial onboarding phase. So when they are now actually your customers, did you stop engaging with them? Like it was just like, I onboarded them and I delivered them the value, and then, okay, they are loyal forever. So actually that never happens. And if we check the insights, they tell us a lot that, the churns after the 3 months, in 3 months, more than 50%, as far as I know, or even more than that, of the subscribers churn. So reducing the churns is a very important fact if you are engaging well with them. Reduce the time to value, which we talked about. So you're having users, you're engaging with them, delivering value, they will be happy. Now, the current methods, what's the methods? Now I have a product, I designed it, I launched it. Before launching it, actually, it would be now SaaS leaders are being more aware of having the onboarding before even launching their products. That's something I'm experiencing a lot when I'm discussing with, in my calls. This is very important for them to have a, ready full package product that's ready just to convert. I'm checking the chat, and she's asking about the churn. The churn means that you had a subscriber, and so they converted to a paying customer, but after a while, they simply canceled their subscription for some reason. They might found out that this is not exactly what they're looking for, or they might have thought that this is what they're looking for, but when they experienced it, they found some lack in the features that they haven't asked about. So they simply churn, or after a while, they probably develop their own solution for that they find there is no need for churning. So churning basically is a current customer that cancels their subscription, and reducing churns is one of the main metrics or one of the main topics that is discussed always in businesses. So it's it's a kind of concern. So we can, I classify these in two ways in terms of educating users. We have some materials that it's targeted to educate users, and which plays a role in the same onboarding context. We use knowledge base, everyone knows the knowledge base and the help articles, the video tutorials, the chatbots. All these are ways to help users get information, understand the product more, and use more of its features. Now, all these are very good. So I can't say the old way and the new way. I was thinking of it like that, but I thought it's not the best way to put it, because it's not actually the old way. Those elements are very important. So having video tutorials, we also do in user guiding, have video tutorials that we are continuously updating. And the chat support is very important to have a human touch. The knowledge base also for the whole articles it has, and the other forums, community, whatever it is. But the interactive is the more important, again, especially in the first life cycle of the users within your application. So it's live now, interacting with them, not only just letting them go read some articles and then come back and apply and then go back to the article and then come back and check. So the more you are interacting with them, the better value you can deliver to them. And interactive, when we say interactive, we are talking about the product adoption platforms, basically, or the pop-ups, the educative tours, the tooltips, the checklists, the MPS, the hotspots, the contextual onboarding. All these are a part of the interactive, which basically works as overlays within your application to interact with the user. So they are taking action with them within the application itself. So for example, there's a task that are clicking on buttons and moving from one step to another. So while they're learning, they're actually achieving the task, which is something very good. Now, there is some kind of a debate about should I buy or should I build my own materials? This is something we discuss a lot in our calls, especially probably the bigger companies or the enterprises are more aware, or they have this topic more problematic for them. Buying versus building, there's some advantages and disadvantages for both of us. But of course, I mean, in this call, I'm not gonna promote you to build your own user onboarding, because we actually have a good point in terms of that. I mean, we can say that buying or using third-party tool is way easier and way more effective in terms of onboarding new users. Now, if you want to build, that will cost you a lot in terms of the development. So you will have a lot of time consumed by your engineers and development team to create, design, and maintain and implement those kind of materials, the interactive materials. So even until you run to an MVP, you will need at least we're talking about months. And the level of customization that you're going to get is not going to be as if it's in a third-party product, which is just specialized in that area and continuously working on developing it. So you will be wasting a lot of time of your engineer's time. And we all know that the engineer's time is, we can say in a way or not, is the most precious time within any business, because it's all about creating the features and developing it. So letting them be engaged in this side project may not be the best thing. At the same time, when you use a third-party tool, especially when we say no coding tools, like what we say in user guiding, so it's needs the least development needed, you will be able to include more teams, more of the success and the marketing and the UX teams, to have a word in what to create and when to create, and directly just iterate it, design it, and push it to the users. Because those even people who are on the front line with customers, they're more able to engage with them and to know how to approach them. So themselves designing those content would be really good and more effective. So it doesn't need any technical requirements if you use a third-party tool, and you will be able to directly just create it, design it, and push it to your users. And the cost you're paying is, I mean, you're having is way less. So of course we promote using a third-party tool. Now it has some concerns about the huge, some companies have like concerns about the security part. So to be fair, like as I mentioned, both methods have its advantages and disadvantages, but now businesses are more aware of the security concerns, and the certifications are solving these problems, and the digital protection acts and all these kind of things. It's not an issue anymore if both sides are aligned together. So this is just a brief about the buying versus building. Let me check what Basili is saying. What is the best combination between educative? Yeah, Alijan is our product manager, by the way, and thank you, Alijan, for helping me answering the questions while I'm doing the presentation. Combination between educative and interactive user guiding as persistent. Yeah. So the best combination between the educative and the interactive is that to make sure that there is no conflict between both. And what I generally personally like see, according to what I have seen, and so it would be better if you make the interactive guides have the main purpose of it is to deliver an aha moment, right? So to deliver the value, focusing on the value, because focusing on the value in turn to customers, while the knowledge base and the help articles actually play more a role in letting users now feel more confident about the technical part of the application. Now we understood what value we can get, but how to do it, how I can manage my tasks. I need to dig more into more details. I probably watch a video from the YouTube tutorials, right? Or from the video tutorials or from the knowledge base. So the areas that they work on is a bit different in terms of, this is working more of, the onboarding works more of an engine to help users understand the value of your product. This is the main title, to understand the value. If they want to dig more into details, they can go to the help articles and check more of that. And as you mentioned, Basile, so having a combination of those is something very important. And what we do sometimes in user guiding is that we include some of our knowledge base and video tutorials videos within our onboarding or our notifications or announcement that we make. So for example, we have released the feature, let's say, we have released a feature actually a couple of weeks ago, which is called the troubleshooter. So we added a hotspot that explains how that works. And then we added a hyperlink within the explanation that they can go to the hyperlink and check more details about that feature. So our purpose from the onboarding is to give the awareness and explain the value. Now for more details, they can go to the knowledge base and check for more details. Please, guys, feel free to ask your questions, and Alijan also can help if I didn't catch your questions. Yeah, so we talked about what user onboarding is about and why you need user onboarding, and like what's the difference between building versus buying or adopting a third-party tool. We can talk about now what's the guidelines for smarter user engagement. So let's say you decided to have an onboarding solution, but you want to know where to start and how to deliver that value, how to create your content. Something very important to talk about to start from here is we talk about the aha moment a lot in this context. And what's the aha moment means is that simply it's a kind of inspiration and a moment of it's an emotional moment. So think of it like that. For example, when you checked, I faced this a lot, for example, in Google, marketing tools. Like when you just open the tool, the interface is super easy. They directly have, a bar that tells you like type a URL and we will, of your website and we will give you the performance, how fast it is. So you just type the URL and when you check the report, you say, aha, like this is the aha moment basically, is that they promised you something and you did something very quick. So again, the speed in this period is very important. And you directly got a value. So you say, oh, aha, this is nice. I want to get more of that. So when you say, I want to get more of that, I want to see where that can lead me, this is where you actually you'll visit more and you will try more and you will hopefully adopt the product. And when we say aha moment, it's not only one moment, actually. It could be so many moments. So think even of the tiniest aha moments that you can deliver within your application. It could be just, as we mentioned, so fulfilling their personal information, and according to that, they can start creating their first project. If they create the project now, they will deliver a report, for example. So delivering a report to them can be an aha moment. One of the examples, let's say like you have a delivery business, right? Where people can just check their location and submit an order, and you give them an estimation time of when that order will be delivered. So let's say according to their location and the distance, you calculate somehow the which is something already exists. So, and when they deliver, when they receive that order at the time within the same estimation that you made, and it's very accurate, they will say aha. So this is an aha moment. Like, they promised me about the accurate period, and they actually did it, and it's nice, so they didn't get late. So this is an aha moment. Is when they feel that like this is something nice, I want to get something similar. Every SaaS business or every product should have some activation points that leads to aha moments. So think you need to discover them, and according to that, you will need to draw your user onboarding through the process that leads to those aha moments. So based on the aha moments, you guide your users. Now, how to discover them? You can start with the user interviews. So you have current customers, let's say. If you're new, you probably don't have. So you will check more of what's the analytics metrics that matter to you, what the product metrics. The user interviews, when you interview your current active users, you will be able to know what features that they are more interested in, and what was their first impression when they first used your product. So what drew their attention and let them visit more, and led them to be a paying customer. By understanding this qualitative information, you can highlight your key features that it's more appealing for users, and start your onboarding from that point. So deliver the aha moments from that point, and according to that, dive into different scenarios. Another thing you can do is check the analytics. So check your, what users are in the sessions, like what users are visiting first, what, buttons are being clicked more, what's all the analytics that can give you information about what's being used more, like the heat map probably can help in this context, what they're starting with and what they are ending with. And you can make a kind of probabilities of correlation. So for example, if it's obvious from the analytics, for example, if they use this feature, then they use the other feature with it. So we can say that first feature 1 and feature 2 leads to an aha moment that gives them this feeling of engaging more. Then listing those correlations will give you key aha moments that you can build user journeys according to. Churned users, by the way, this is the third one. The churned users can also help a lot, because the churned users are opposite to the active users within the same concept. They will help you understand what didn't make them feel excited about your product, and what were they expecting to see and they didn't. So you can make your own. Probably they didn't see the value that you're trying to make, so you can again design your onboarding journey according to that. Let's say you have checked all that, you're now clear about your aha moments, and the aha moments can be like mini aha moments, big aha moments, and small aha moments. So, and according to that, now you start designing your onboarding journey. So you draw probably some guides, some educative tours, some hotspots, checklist. We will talk about that in a bit, in more details. All that will help you, achieve the value, deliver the value. So the aha moment in words is delivering value in the fastest way possible and giving good emotional feeling for users to engage more. As we mentioned, now when you have the aha moments, you will need to let users reach that aha moment, and this is what we call them the activation points. So the activation points mean that all the steps that the users should go through until they access that aha moments. Let's say, for example, again, that in your application, there is something that you can design something, and in order to design something, you need to install some plugin, and then after you install the plugin, you need to create a board. Then after you create a board, you need to set your toolbar. So all these that lead to the final design are activation points, and it's important now to include these in your onboarding. That will achieve two goals. The first thing is that they will know what's the whole process that leads to that value, so they will be able to remember it, and it will give them more training. in order if they want to use that feature in the future. And the second thing is that it will deliver them the value very quick. So rather than just telling them that this is the feature and you can go like with one pop-up, this is how you go, just to go to that panel, you're now guiding them step by step within clear order, so they can it will be more clear for them to get to that value. So the activation points need to be included in your onboarding, definitely. The context, now, this is about the aha moment and how you can do it. Another smart approach of having a good onboarding is to use the contextual onboarding method. The contextual onboarding is important, and what we mean by that is that there is a big misconception about onboarding, as far as I'm seeing from how different businesses are using it. There is the kind of an idea that I will need to automate everything. I need to welcome my users and then guide them step by step to everything, like take them from hand. So click here, click that, and when they finish, they're automating and other things, and it's all automation, it's all spamming, and it's all irrelevant things. And actually, if you do that, what you're doing is actually causing more friction to users rather than helping them. And the whole target of having an onboarding solution is to make the experience more smooth. So if you're going to keep spamming your users, please don't. And the alternative to that is to have a contextual onboarding. Contextual onboarding, can rely on many points. The first one is that you let them discover. So keep them the option to discover themselves. Now, when you created your product and you design it, you should have designed it in a good UX that it's easy to use. So if not, that means there's a problem with the UX itself that you better check, right? Now, let them discover, because they have expectation. While they're discovering, now streamline their journey. Give them more guidance and advice about what they're trying to learn about. So it's kind of a way to understand the user behavior and understanding what the user is trying to achieve, and at the same time showing them relevant content. And in order to do that, you can use many methods, at least in the current technology available options. You can use custom triggers. So this is an alternative, because when we are talking generally about onboarding, the first thing comes to some people's mind is that it's automated. So you can leave a custom trigger always option in your mind. So I don't need to trigger everything automatically all the time. I can leave them the option to click on those materials when they need them. Other thing that you need to consider, actually, it's not a nice to have, is the segmentation. Because the segmentation, again, will give you the ability to personalize the experience. So if you make some custom triggers, that would be good in order to lessen the spamminess of the whole experience. But the segmentation will help with the personalization and with triggering the right thing at the right time. If you want to sum it with one sentence, like about onboarding is triggering relevant content for the right people at the right time to deliver value. So to the right people at the right time is the segmentation topic. And from the technical part, we can show a quick overview about it in a bit, but those are the main three elements to have a contextual onboarding. So keep it in mind, it's not all about automation. It's not all about long steps and long guides, which happens a lot. Like I see a lot of businesses use that, which is pretty bad practice. I don't want to be going within 30 steps, tooltips and pop-ups, especially people who use SaaS business nowadays are more aware of how these things work. So you don't need just to tell them click here and fill the field. It's a field, it needs to be filled, right? I can do nothing else like with filling a field. So the better thing to do is to give an extra information and write guidance smoothly. So we talked about the user engagement, smart user engagements. We started with the aha moment, and we talked about the contextual onboarding and how you can do it. I will finally talk about here the bowling alley framework. That's it was basically done by Wes Bush. He's doing a great job in the product-led growth kind of topics, and it's based on three elements. So think of it like a bowling alley or bowling track, right? When you throw the bowling ball, if it goes just right and left, or you throw it in the wrong direction, it will hit less targets, or it will not hit target at all. So you'll need to be straight to the point. So this is one of the main and important, tasks, or the main important elements that you depend on when you build your onboarding steps, is that the onboarding should be straight line, right? And straight line means less steps, shorter steps, bullet contents, straight to the point, no spams, and value is very clear. So the activation points are very clear, and the outcome, the reward of those activation points is very clear. So if you threw the ball straight, you will hit all the targets. Simple as that. The product bumper is that you can show the user the tooltips, the helpful tooltips. Again, this can be a part of the contextual onboarding that we talked about. So showing them the right things at the right time. So you need to be straight to the point. You need to show the right things at the right time. And he's talking here a bit about the conversational bumpers. When you are sending emails and SMSs, in order to help those two things, the onboarding and the emails or the outer conversational channels, work together to let users come back. So what you're trying to do is let them come back and engage more with your product. This was an overview about the onboarding, what it is, why you need it, why is it important more than any time actually before now, because we are seeing like thousands of products over there in the web. And if you actually, all your mission is about, if you actually believe that you have a value, that you need to deliver this value very fast to your users. And if you don't, you're losing them. And this is what we're seeing every day. Now, I want to come and talk a bit now about how we do that in user guiding, because it's obviously our area where we work on the product adoption and the user onboarding, the feature promotion. And we're giving you some examples to make it more clear. So we talked about theoretically about how those things will look like, but how you can actually implement them in real life. So if you sign up to user guiding, this is what we are trying, how we draw our, the user journey. So we tell you, welcome to the panel, and we were directly drawing some activation points, which leads to our aha moment. And our aha moment is that when you actually show the guides live to your users, that's what we consider our aha moments. And because when you create the guide and preview it and show it to your users, now the users can see those guides, and you will say, like, this is something nice. Like, I have an overlay on my product that it's super easy to create. That will help me deliver more information and give more value to my users. So we all continuously push toward that direction. So we don't just give a product tour about everything, like this is our feature, this is the customization, this is the settings. You don't need to tell people everything in their first sessions. Probably not in any session. You don't need to tell them everything, because they will discover themselves. You need to deliver them a value that they can, build on. So after you go there, we actually take you to the Chrome extension, to our checklist. I'm not sure, for some reason it didn't appear here. I'll try to create quickly a new account. Okay, just randomly putting anything. One of the good, by the way, smooth onboarding is probably it's a kind of pre-onboarding practices, is to smoothen this, this sign up phase to your users. So if you have long forms, which is also a bad practice, like which include, ask for numbers and credit cards, that will give you less traffic. And, it will probably, so some people use that to clean the traffic, to have high qualified traffic, but actually some people might be interested, but when they see these long forms, they tend not to fill them. So it's very important to have an easy sign up phase. So again, let's try this account to see the experience here. Okay, not sure why the checklist is not appearing. guys have any advice about this? Okay, let me open an existing account if we can say that. Yeah, cool. So this is our checklist in user guiding. And what we first trying to do is that we show you welcome to user guiding and we don't continue with the guide. We directly refer you to the checklist because we wanted, again, to allow the contextual thing and to give you the sense of discovery that you can have yourself. So now we're telling you that you have these tasks and these tasks will reach you, will deliver you a value. So if you can follow them, you will get the value. And the first thing is, one of the good practices is to have a pre-completed steps, like, because it's based on the checklist is based on the progress bar, and the progress bar is proceeding according to how users are actually finishing tasks that's distributed in this checklist. So if they feel that they already finished a task, right, like by signing up, like I already finished like 30%, for example, it's kind of like it's like a kind of a trick to let them engage more, which help them like feel that they achieved something and they want to continue. So then we're pushing into the activation points, right? Through the touch points. And the first activation point in our case is installing the Chrome extension. And again, we build our guides through those activation points. So if you click on install the Chrome extension, you will directly say, want to create guide, just download the Chrome extension. So it's one simple pop-up. And when you go download the Chrome extension, we're checking that on the checklist. Then we are pushing to create your first guide directly, like by go to the first, create guide, click on a new guide, 3 steps. So see, like we are trying always to keep it very short, put URL and you will be able to build the guide. Now, after building the guide, the second, in our journey to get the value, you need to complete the integration. So in order for you to show those guides live to your users, the container code should be placed on the head section of your source code, which is a part of, this is the only, let's say, coding things required, which is not even a coding thing. It's just copying and pasting the head section. It's like you can watch the video. So here we put a video that you can watch the video, or you can directly go within the steps. So going within the steps, that tells you where the container code is. Clicking and copying it and pasting it on the section of your source code will be enough. Now, the final thing that will deliver you the value is now you're ready, you've done the integration, you created your first guide and design it, now you go live. So you go to, the guide will take you within those steps to go to any of the guides, to the settings, and click on active and show it to your users. Now, when you see it live, there we can say that we delivered an aha moment. And if you think about it in a way or another, we explained what our tool does. This is the main concept. So this is what we want to let our users know. Like our tool create contents that gives information and help users being guided. All our features are based around this concept. So there is no need to explain all the features within the same way or to spam users with explaining all the settings that they can go discover themselves. Again, as we mentioned, by checking some articles or by watching our video tutorials. So thinking of that in your case will help you a lot by adopting what we talked about, by checking the analytics and the customer interviews and the churn people will help you draw either your walkthroughs or your checklist around the aha moments that you want to deliver. Now, in terms of creating those interactive contents, I'm checking just the chats. Yeah, in order to create those interactive contents, we actually base it on different onboarding approaches, and this is how we built our features. So the guides are the automated walkthroughs, are the tours that we've just showed right now. They're moving from one step to another, and they're being automated. The hotspots are more of they're more used for feature promotion. So the thing is that you're trying to hit your users with different ways. If they, let's say, dismissed or they didn't get information from the guides, you will still make sure that you can access them and interact with them, give them information where they are. And the hotspot will play a very good role in this context because they're super quick to access and they will hover over them and get whatever the information they put inside them. And they can be used for feature promotion. As you see, like you can give them pulse animation and you can spread them across like different, link them to the basically the HTML elements and put whatever content you want inside them. It could be like text here or videos or you know, buttons to trigger the tours. And this would be a very good practice to leave an option for users to refer to those guides, to these sources again, if they dismiss them in the first phase, which is likely to happen in a lot of cases, that they dismiss the guides. So you want to leave them resources to check them. They can be either from the hotspots or from the checklist that we talked about, where they can come and complete their tasks. Now, the other thing that you can do is that, now this is how the process is going to go, like with user guiding. You're signing up, you have the Chrome extension, you're going to your admin account. You made a good study. It would be good to make, you know, put some time thinking of how your user journey will look like. What's your aha moments? What's your key activation points? What's your touch points? Where the users are coming before you made this journey, what they tend to discover more, right? And according to that, start building your journey, start designing your checklist, and start spreading your hotspots, and finalize it by the NPS to measure the, you know, how the users are satisfied by the experience that they are having within your application. When you have the Chrome extension, you will start now designing your journey. And we say it's non-technical because it's directly you're triggering the Chrome extension and you're building those guides on your like admin account and then push them to your users after you install the container code. Let's say like we will create a guide together here, just super quick. We want to call it like welcoming users, and give it a description, whatever it is, and choose a theme. You can create themes for them by changing the design, and then you can build steps. So as you see, we have preset models that you can directly use or build it from scratch. And your game will be here is like by putting the interactive, the fun content, the intuitive one that will draw the user's attention. You can add sections and delete from here. It could be videos, it could be you know, HTMLs, GIFs, whatever you want, and assign actions to those buttons and start drawing the journey from there. So this is the step I create. You can always see, like, just choose where you want it to appear on the screen and the design, and save it and preview what you create and start building your steps to go from there. The tooltips will give you like selectors also to select any UI element and do that. Now when you create the guides, it's on the panel in the Chrome extension, it's just the designer and the builder. We talked about the segmentation and the contextual onboarding, so keep that in mind. So you go back to your panel and check what's that segmentation and custom trigger looks like, which is a lot of the time is forgotten or neglected by a lot of users. When you create a guide, you will come here and check, I want this scenario. So for example, I don't want to trigger the guide automatically. I want them, if they create their first project, I'm storing that, for example, in the cookie, and the cookie is being updated. And now I want to make an announcement for them to, for example, probably guide them to new feature that's related to the feature that they've done. Probably like going to the settings of that project and, you know, doing more customization on it. That's how the, you know, contextual onboarding plays a role. And the segmentation gives you a lot of options. So it could be differentiating between what scenarios the users according to their types are seeing, which is a pretty common use case used by a lot of our current, you know, clients, is that you have an admin user and you have a normal user, and it doesn't make sense to show the different scenarios because each one of them is interested in a specific, you know, part of the features, or they have different, you know, flow in the journey. So you can create different scenarios and show them. That's also a part of the contextual and a part of making the personalization of that journey. It could be according to their languages. It could be according to dates, right? So for example, if there's a specific date like Black Friday, let's say, and you want to show specific things after the Black Friday, which is different from before because it's a campaign, the more personalized you make it, the more intuitive it is, and the more live it is, and the more the users will get value out of it. So it's not like, you know, avoid the stereotypes of like just having guidance for everything. And for custom segments, you can create your own segments, see, like from the preset attributes directly that we have, according to the visited pages or to cookies, again, to the browser languages, to the refer URL, to the guide. So you can kind of control their flow by creating probably a tree of conditions, for example. I don't want to trigger this guide directly. I want to trigger it if a certain guide is seen or is completed, or if that is not seen, I want to trigger this. So see, like it gives you a lot of probabilities to control how they're going to flow after each other. And those segments you have, you will be able to use them anytime in the future. Then you scroll down. So the experience you're getting here is that's one panel, the settings. You're just scrolling down, checking like tick, tick, like what that guides look like. So you can trying to articulate how it's going to look like. Is it automatically triggered or custom triggered? Is it segmented for a certain part or this for all my user base? Is it contextual, like it's going to trigger to certain condition, or is just for the URL? Is it, you know, if it's auto triggered, is it shown always or show only once? All these things for all the guides, by making them together will help make the experience smoother. As you see in the trigger, you can make the off trigger and choose custom trigger options, as we mentioned. So you can do the JavaScript API to trigger the guides from the CTA buttons. Again, for some reason, this is not used a lot. Users tend to use them automatically, but this is very helpful in terms that help you to have a contextual onboarding. So some things doesn't make sense you trigger them automatically. You can leave them per user the mat. So like if they click on something, you want to show them something relevant. And simply that means that you can also trigger those guides from your CTA buttons by assigning them as more than one action to the same button. So like, let's say I'm clicking on this window now, this opening at the same time, a tour will open a tooltip that will tell them this panel does this and this and that, and or provide some tips probably about this panel, right? Another option could be the hyperlinks, sending them through emails, also within your emails, a part of how those conversational, bumpers are working together. You can send them through emails or through chatbots. That will also help. The final thing is that when the trigger, if you set it on, you can, if it's an auto trigger, you can select if it's only one or always, right? This is about the guides and the hotspots. And so the settings now is similar for all the features. It's about the segmentation. So you can segment the hotspots and the checklist within the same mechanism. And you can make the checklist also as a help center for longer term onboarding. So you can use it, for example, you have an onboarding checklist that the users completed the task through, but when they complete it, you want to probably replace it with a help center that have more detailed tasks, more, FAQs, probably anything that the users might need to search for, and they can find it from the help center. The NPS finally will help you to collect the feedback about how users are satisfied, the Net Promoter Score. It will be one question that you can also customize it, and change the question, probably allow section for feedback, change the design. So in all features, we are talking about ability to change the design, to change the content, and to change the automation level. So the automation kind of trigger, and this segmentation. So you are working on many levels, and the more more organized you have them, the more your journey will be better. And from the overview, you will be able to check the analytics about how your that usage is performing. So for example, how the guides are being viewed, and the completion rate, and the step analytics, how the users are proceeding from one step to another. All these are information that you'll be able to get. So in our playground here, you can always, by the way, come and check the examples that we have. You can imagine the experience like this. So for example, now users are landing on your homepage, on your portal. You're showing them the content. You're probably referring them to the checklist, leave them to discover. They're completing their task from the checklist. While they're completing their tasks, you're putting them hotspots. You're making conditionally triggered guides that will trigger only in certain events. And you onboarded your users well now. Keep the tool in mind always. Keep it in your mind whenever you have anything new. So when you want to make notifications, when you have product release, new features, it's not only one-time use. This is something that they will keep with it, and it will always be helpful for you to use. So for example, now we have just have this webinar. We made a pop-up, an announcement within our panel, which we got a lot of registers from there. It worked as an extra channel for you to make to help you the marketing channels. If you have some new features that you want to show users how they work, you can also use it. By taking those methods into consideration, you will hopefully be good to go by delivering a good user experience for users. We have 10 minutes left, so I will leave it if anyone has any questions. about what we talked about, or about some of you are already on trial with us, so you probably have some questions. So please let me know. Basilis, you asked, what's the combination? Okay, we answered that already, I guess. Yeah, I want to talk a bit about the how you can start by customization from the themes. So the themes will basically be able to, when you first, would be good to do when you first, sign up, if you sign up to user guiding, is that to make your own themes and presets that you can use for the guides. So you can change the colors and the shape of the boxes and pretty much everything about those content, and then use them as fixed. So you don't need to design the colors and everything every time. So just start in an organized way by making your theme, by installing the Chrome extension. It would be great if you embed the container code, install the container code from the beginning. That won't make the guides live for your users, because in order to show them live to your users, you will need to go to the guides and make them active. But that will give you the technical ability to show those content. So you create the themes and you embed the container code, you install the Chrome extension, you have your journey, and you start building those guides. Let me see. Thank you, Tana. You're welcome. Yeah, I think I didn't check the chat here. I was checking the Q&As. Yeah, so if there is any other questions, you can always contact me in to my email, anas@userguiding.com. You can contact Susan also from the chatbot, and our calendar is always open. You can always book sessions with us if you want to learn more. So this was an introduction, but if you want to dig into more details, we'll be happy to help. And yeah, thank you so much for your attendance and for your time, and we will be hoping to see you in other events. Bye-bye. I'm sorry, I will be recording. The call is recorded, and we will be sharing it with you also, so you can check it again. And for the one who didn't attend, they will be able to see it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.